Sir, do we get to win this time?
This time it's up to you.
Welcome to Dark Knight Films Reviews and another action movie night. Tonight, I will be reviewing Rambo, First Blood Part 2, released in 1985, directed by George P. Cosmatos, from a script by Sylvester Stallone and James Cameron, based on a story by Kevin Jarre, starring Sylvester Stallone, Richard Crenna, Charles Napier, Stephen Berkoff, Julia Nickson, Martin Kove, and George Cheung. Now, you may be wondering, why did you do First Blood on Comedy and Drama Night, and now you're doing Rambo First Blood Part 2 on Action Movie Night? Well, the difference is, for whatever reason, they decided to switch gears. The original film was more a drama, in my opinion. It wasn't an action film, so it didn't belong on Action Movie Night. Whereas this one is a action movie first and foremost. And even though it's got a pretty bad reputation because it got all sorts of Razzie awards back in the day, I don't get the hatred toward this film. The music, once again, is excellent. Done once again by the brilliant Jerry Goldsmith. And it's a damn good score. I wouldn't say it's better than the original film's score that Jerry did, but it fits this action film. Ironically, David Morrell, writer of the original novel that First Blood was based on, wrote the novelization for this film, which is kind of weird. I mean, he didn't write the script for this thing. He didn't even take part in it. So it was kind of odd that the actual original novelist that did First Blood did the novelization for this film. The film really changes things up, like I said. It is more action-oriented. Stallone is still great as John Rambo. I do not think he's as good in this, though, as he was in First Blood. He's good, but he's not as good as then, I don't think. Richard Crenna, though, is still killing it as Colonel Troutman. He's just as good in this as he was in the original film, in my opinion. One could say that Charles Napier's Murdoch is the villain of this film and is the equivalent of what Brian Dennehy was in the original. I don't think it is. I think the villains of this film are definitely Stephen Berkoff's character and George Cheung's character. You were just waiting for him to go after all of them, and he does with George Cheung's Lieutenant Tay in a very excellent kill. And of course, when he kills Stephen Berkoff's Podofsky, that was pretty kick-ass. Pretending to have crashed, and he's injured, and he's going to try and finish him off. That was pretty cool. Martin Kove was cool early in the film, and his betrayal and leaving behind Rambo earlier in the film, it just set up basically the character getting knocked out later on.
Glad you made it!
But the standout for me in this film is Julia Nickson as the character of Kove. She is just so beautiful in her role, and her accent that she does, the whole thing where she kind of falls for Rambo while she's an agent helping him in this assignment. I mean, it worked for me. I think the co-character, I just wish she hadn't been killed by the end of it. But I think the co-character was really, really well played by Julia Nickson. She is a standout in this film. I really loved her character.
What is this?
They bring me good luck. What bring you good luck?
I guess this.
Now, a lot of people don't know this, but the 1986 arcade classic Ikari Warriors was originally intended to be an officially licensed adaptation of this film. And, you know, that makes sense because back when I was playing Ikari Warriors back in the day, it always felt like a Rambo video game. And the character, you know, body, look, and everything basically looks like Rambo and everything. So, you know, that's disappointing that, you know, they ended up not being able to get the rights to do it in time for the actual release of the game. So they just had to release it as Ikari Warriors. Does make me wonder what they were going to do for the second character. Were they going to make that a female character? Were they going to make that Ko, or was it going to be like the real one where you can just play as two versions of Rambo in there? But anyway, I think George P. Cosmatos does a kick-ass job directing this one, just like he did a kick-ass job directing another movie down the road, which I've already reviewed on this channel, with Cobra, which if you haven't seen that review, check it out above. That's an older review, but it's still one of my favorites that I've done. But same thing. I mean, George directs action really good. And these two films, I mean, the action in these films is badass. It is well done. Did it need to be made into an action movie? I don't think so, but I'm not going to object to it. It is kind of like that whole best of the best thing, though, where they kind of changed to a lesser extent because, you know, First Blood, a lot of people still think is an action film. But to each his own. So my final review of Rambo, First Blood Part 2 from 1985. I am going to give this film a 8.9 out of 10. I do not believe this film is as good as First Blood, and I do not think this film is as good as Cobra. But I do like the film still. It is, like I said, Julia Nickson is beautiful and incredible in her role as Kove. But what do you guys think? Do you agree with my review? Do you disagree? Let me know in those comments down below. And as usual, if you enjoyed this video, do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to click that bell icon so you can be notified about future videos just like this one. And while you're by the subscribe button, click that join button and become a Dark Knight fan. Right now on the Dark Knight Fans Plus area, if you are a member, you can go on there and put in whatever review, whether it be a movie, TV show, or even a ranking video. Put it down there, request it, and when I do it, it will go right there on Dark Knight Fans area, and you can watch it before it ends up going live. Well, that's it for another action movie night. If you missed last week's action movie night, check out the link above to get caught up on that one. And if you've missed any other videos, check out this down here where you can watch a playlist of any of our action movie nights that you have missed.